I have a few new and updated shortcuts I wanted to share with you all. This video is sponsored by Bangcase. Let's get into it. Shortcuts is Apple's built-in automation tool for iOS, iPadOS, and macOS. I use shortcuts for automating all sorts of stuff like creating notes and linking web pages, recalling snippets of text I use often, playing music throughout the house, or quickly doing repetitive tasks automatically. I've done a few different walkthroughs on how to build them, and I will link to those and all the shortcuts I mentioned in the description below. Daily Note is a shortcut that creates a new daily note in Obsidian. This uses my daily note template that I've built out in Obsidian, which I have been using for journaling and as a scratchpad. It's really just a nice place to write stuff down. There really isn't anything special about this just uses the template feature built into Obsidian. This shortcut goes through and pulls all the tasks and projects I have due today in Things, and it also pulls any calendar events I might have on my schedule for today as well. It then formats that information and then adds it to my daily note document. I've been using this for journaling, and it's a really nice way to just reference what is due. Now, I don't go through and mark these tasks as completed, even though you can. I handle all of that stuff in Things. This is just for referencing. GPTCut is a simple one-action shortcut, and one-action shortcuts are kind of just some of the best. One-action shortcuts are often overlooked, but they're some of the most useful ones I have. This uses the action that is built into the ChatGPT app. Using the Ask ChatGPT action, you can just quickly ask it a question without having to open the app. Meaning you don't have to leave whatever it was that you are doing. You can just, stay focused, whether you're taking notes, you're browsing the web, whatever. You can stay focused on that, but you can also ask it a question. Kind of like what Siri should be. Now, in this action, I have the continuous chat option enabled. This way I can ask follow-up questions. This is a super simple shortcut, but very useful. I've used it for measurement conversion, spelling and grammar check, making regular expressions, and more. In fact, I found it so useful, I added it to the dock of my iPad, so no matter where I am, I can run it from anywhere. This video is sponsored by Bangcase. This is the Bangcase. While it may look like a normal iPhone case, it gives you something no other can. A programmable button. Very similar to the iPhone 15's Pro line action button, but this can do even more. Thanks to the Assistive Touch accessibility feature, there are 3 different programmable modes. The first is just a normal push. I have this set up to run my Capture Cut shortcut, so I can quickly take a note and add it to Obsidian. The second is a double press. This launches my Task Cut shortcut. This jumps right into Things 3 and gives me the quick entry option. The third is a long press. This is set to run my Snippet Cut shortcut. This way I can quickly add things from my clipboard to it or quickly retrieve important information. If you already have an iPhone 15 Pro, this gives you a second, more flexible action button. On the back, you have a very stylish and clear back where you can see all the ins and outs of how the Bangcase works. I love this and miss the days of clear technology. It reminds me of like the iMac G3 and the Game Boy Color. The Bangcase is a great product for anyone looking to expand the capabilities of their iPhone. I'm going to put some links in the description below to where you can go check out Bangcase. My thanks to Bangcase for sponsoring this video. Link projects is a way I link different projects in my task manager together. The problem is I have certain projects that are tied together, for example, sponsorships and video projects. But this is something that could be used for more. When I run this, it shows me a list of active projects. I pick the one I want, it then gets the built-in deep link URL for it, then shows me a list of sponsorships. Then I pick the one that I want to tie to the video project I already selected. It will then put the Things deep link and the name in the notes field for both the respective sponsorship and video. This way, not only can I reference, say, what sponsorship is tied to what video or what video is tied to what sponsorship, but I also have a link so I can jump directly to it in my task manager. This is extremely handy and something I was really missing from my Airtable setup that I had a few years ago. I used to have this big Airtable document that basically did this already because you could just easily link stuff back and forth in Airtable, and I was able to jump back and forth between it. This is a little more hacky, but it absolutely works. Everything in Things has a deep link, so it doesn't just have to be video projects and sponsorships. Anything you want to link together, you can use this shortcut for. Time Machine is my shortcut for backing up my video projects folder. This can be used for any local folder, though it doesn't just have to be video projects. Because I put all my footage and stuff in the local section, the on my iPad section in Files, stuff isn't backed up to anywhere but iCloud. And I have had so many issues with the iCloud backup system just not working properly. So I use this shortcut to take everything that is in my Final Cut video projects folder and back that up to my NAS. Now, this could easily be modified to work with an external hard drive as well. That's what I used to do this with, but I've recently made some changes to my Wi-Fi network. So I now have extremely fast internal Wi-Fi speeds, and my router is actually plugged into a 10 gigabit per second port. So I don't really have an issue transferring large amount of files quickly. But that being said, if you have like a Thunderbolt external drive or even a really fast USB-C drive, it would still be faster, but this is just more convenient because I move around with my iPad a lot. Now, the way the shortcut works is it gets the contents of the folder you pick, it then zips it up and uploads it to whatever destination you've picked. So for me, that would be my NAS. I did have this set up as a timed automation for a while, but it was just starting to fail all the time. I don't know if there's just like a timeout issue with built-in personal automations. It just wasn't working, so I've just been manually running this at the end of my day. It's not a perfect solution by any means, but it works for now. It gives me some peace of mind, even though there is some manual interaction with it, which means it's not a true backup. Like, a true proper backup, if you ask, like, any network admin, and I haven't been one in a while, but back in my day, you can't manually interact with a backup because that is a source of failure. You forgetting to manually run that backup is a source of failure. So, it gives me a little bit of peace of mind, but not a ton. I'm just hoping that Time Machine is coming to the iPad at WWDC. Before traveling to New York for the iPad event, I actually updated my bag checklist shortcut. This is a shortcut I use every time I'm traveling, whether it's for a day trip or an overnight trip or a cross-country trip, whatever. This is a shortcut I always use when I'm traveling. It is incredibly handy. The way this shortcut works now is it asks you for the trip name, then it asks for the date you're leaving and the date you're returning. It then does some math to determine how long you're going to be gone, and this will come into play in just a bit. The dictionary action houses different categories of stuff I pack. Now, this can be changed very easily. You can add new categories by selecting the array option. You can then add items to the array, and this will be stuff that you pack. You can also add to the current categories or delete them entirely. Now, I could just do a long list of things I pack every single time, but I like these categories because just because I'm traveling, it doesn't mean I'm going to take everything every time. So, for example, if my girlfriend and I are going on a trip, I'm not going to bring my camera gear. I'm not going to be working on that trip, so I'm not going to want that category of stuff. So I would leave that unchecked. You know, maybe I'm not doing an overnight trip. Maybe I'm just going up to Apple Park for something. I don't know. You know, maybe who knows? So I'm just going to bring my camera gear, but I don't need to bring my overnight stuff. You know, it's that kind of thing right there. In the tech and camera categories, you will see a battery icon next to a few different options. I use this to symbolize that devices need to be charged before leaving. In the overnight travel category, you'll see a few variables next to a few different options. This uses the math for how long you'll be gone to suggest how many items of each of these things you should bring. Now, it's not perfect, especially if you go like an odd number of days. It could suggest like bring 1.5 pants. Probably don't bring a half a pants, but it kind of gives you a suggestion. It gives you an idea of, okay, hey, I'm going to be gone a week, so maybe I should bring, 8 shirts, because you should always have an extra pair of clothes just to be on the safe side. Now, some people may think that's being overly cautious. Oh, if you're going to be gone 7 days, you only need to bring 7 days worth of shirts. But actually, my flight coming back from New York, where the iPad event was canceled. And I was stuck in New York for an extra day. And oh boy, was I glad I had an extra pair of underwear. When you run the shortcut and after you select the categories of items that will be packed, Shortcuts will create a task reminding you to pack your bag the day before your trip. It will then add everything from the categories you picked as subtasks to this. If you don't use the app things, you can easily swap this out for reminders or just about any other task manager you use as long as it has shortcut support. I just really like things with the way it works, especially with shortcuts. It has some of the best shortcut support out of any task manager out there. So that's it. That's a few new and updated shortcuts I have been using. Let me know if you've been doing something different with shortcuts in the comments below. I'm hoping for some big shortcuts updates at WWDC. We haven't got a lot of significant new actions in a really long time, so I'm hoping for something. My thanks to Bankcase for sponsoring this video. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day.